Welcome to the FI Investors Podcast, helping you achieve financial independence through real estate investing, one episode at a time. We talk about personal finance, mindset, and real estate investing. Whether you're a rookie or looking to scale your portfolio, we're here to provide you with the tactics and actionable steps to achieve your goals. Here are your hosts, Diego Corzo and Ward Mahoney.
What is up, Ward? Welcome to another FI Investors Podcast.
What's up, Diego? How you doing, man? Excited to be here once again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today we have Diana Oceguera sharing her journey on, even though she's living in California, how she's been building her portfolio, investing out of state.
Yeah.
Going from one property or two properties when I met her, right when we met her, all the way to now having 5 or 6, but also establishing a property management company, growing that to managing now 15 or 18 doors.
A lot.
And
just killing it.
Yes, and sharing the lessons learned, her wins in investing in different markets and leveraging the 10% down second home program.
Yeah. We talked a lot of different things, touched on a lot of different topics. So this is a really, really good episode. If you're someone that's thinking about going into short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, you're trying to think in terms of systems, or maybe you're just like, hey, how do I scale my real estate portfolio? This is a great episode to tune into.
Yes, that's awesome. And for anybody that is listening and wants to achieve financial independence and you haven't gone there yet, go to keys2fi.com. That is keys2fi.com to download the free email course for achieving financial independence.
That's it.
All right, let's get to it. What is up? Welcome to another FI Investors Podcast. Ward, how are you doing?
What's up, Diego? I'm doing well, man. Really excited to jump in with this guest here. This is going to be a blast today.
Yes. Diana in the house. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I miss you guys. I miss talking to you guys.
Yes, I know it's been a little while, but what's good is we're going to be hanging out next week when you come to the FI Investors Podcast. To the FI Investors Retreat. Sorry, here in Austin. Yes,
we have an awesome lineup of incredible speakers. Diana's one of them, and we've got this big mansion. We're doing a big party barge. It's going to be super educational. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes,
yay! I've never been to Austin, so I'm excited.
Oh man, yes, we'll definitely show you a good time. It's gonna be good, and I think it's not gonna be as hot as it's been in Austin these past, I would say 45 days or like 2 months, basically. So it'll be good because it's been 110 every single day for the last 2 months.
Wow, it's hot here in Cali too right now.
Yeah, it's hot everywhere,
which is rare.
Yes.
Wow. Did you say 108?
Yeah.
Wow,
that's crazy.
In LA.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Diana, you have an incredible story. I've seen your journey since probably property number 2 or 3. Since since property number 2. This is going to be an awesome podcast because your story is super inspirational. And for the audience here, tell us a little bit about what you do, and then what your portfolio looks like now, what you're doing now, and then we'll walk backwards.
Okay. So born and raised in LA, big baseball fan. Right now I have a total of 6 properties that I own. But in our journey, we did open a property management company, and we manage 15 units. And we just recently started managing a multi-unit in Arizona. So very excited, and a lot has happened from when I started with your mentorship, Diego, to now, right? Which isn't a long time. We started in October of 2020. So
yes, that's right. So October of 2020, you buying your second property. That was the one in Jacksonville, right?
Yes. But I will say it was my first out-of-state property, which was, as a beginner, it comes with fear. Mm-hmm. We bought it unseen. Like, I've never even been to Florida ever. So yeah, you got to see that first house. That's like scary.
Yes. Yeah. So then October 2020, you buy your second property, right, out of state, and now you have six. What states are they in?
Tennessee, Arizona, and California, and Florida.
Okay. And
Nice.
Florida. All right. So you are in 4 different states.
Yes.
And one of the things that stops a lot of people, or like they would say, I cannot buy in the area that I'm in because it's too expensive. I cannot do this. But you were able to buy a property out of state, a property that will cash flow, because some people would say, I cannot invest in real estate because where I live, there's no cash flow, right? Can you tell us a little bit about like what kind what was the mindset that you had to go through to get to invest out of state while you were living in California?
What was a mindset that like allowed me to do that? That helped
Yeah,
me.
because I know a lot of people have that fear, or like, I've never been to this property, right? I've never been to that state.
But look,
or...
fear is always going to be there. Even now at 6 properties, when we go to the 7th, it's going to be scary, right? But for me, what helped my mindset is that I had a mastermind group behind me where I can ask these questions if something ever happened, right? So you can get yourself caught up on, well, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens? But you have the people to support you where you can reach out and ask those questions like, hey, how who's ever been in this dilemma, right? So having that support I think was very helpful.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And Diana, let me ask you this. So I know that you just said you purchased a 5-unit too, right?
No.
You're managing the 5-unit.
A multi-unit, yeah.
Multi-unit. How many units is it?
15.
15. Wow. That's amazing. Is it short-term rental or long-term rental?
We are doing hybrid. So midterm rental and short-term rental.
Wow. That's amazing. So how did you feel accepting the management role on a project like that? That's amazing.
It was exciting because I had walked through that project before, just as, we were just walking it. The investor was showing it to us, just like we do with each other, right? And just like I do with anything else, right? Even when you go into a restaurant, when you go to another business, you're like, if this were mine, I'd do this, that. So in my brain, I had already done it. I had already done the work in my brain. So when we got the opportunity to do that, we were just super excited and kind of just hit the floor running with it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. To MTR and STR that too. Oh my God.
And that one is locally where you are, or is that one out of state too?
It's in Arizona.
Okay. And
we practically live there. We're always there.
Awesome. So we definitely want to get on how you began to scale, going from your properties into the management part now. But tell us a little bit about your first deal out of state. How did you find it? What did you do? What strategy did you use?
So in the beginning, there's so much to learn in real estate, right? You can flip, you can do Airbnb, you can get new construction. Like there's just so much. And I felt comfortable doing turnkey with a purchase price of under 150. Like as a beginner, that's where I was comfortable. And I met Glenn Santos. I don't know if you remember him. In the mastermind group. And really fast, you learn that this community is very giving. Like everyone is willing to just jump on a call and guide you through whatever you need guidance in. And he did that for me. He had already bought a property there. He had a management company. I interviewed with them, loved them, and that's how I got that property. Like just your network, right? That's how I got my first one. It was turnkey, so it was there wasn't really much to do other than hire the property management company, and then that's it.
And be able to work with them in a way that they'll be able to manage it. You pick up your cash flow at the end of the month, and
that's it. Yeah, it was easy.
Okay. So then you went through that one on the long term. And then you started doing short-term rentals too in the Smokies. Was the one in the Smokies your second property?
It was not my third. It was not my third. Yeah.
Okay. Walk us a little bit through that strategy of why you picked that market, and also choosing another state. Like instead of going, hey, I'm gonna get another property in Jacksonville because I can use the same property manager and so forth. You chose another market.
So what happened in Jacksonville was that then a hurricane came and our insurance doubled, like it nearly doubled. So then it cut out our cash flow. And so I said, well, we want to reach FI, right? It's not going to happen through long term. It's going to be with a little bit more risk, and it's going to be short-term rental. And Tennessee was, well, the Great Smoky Mountains was a location where they were very, very Airbnb friendly. Right. So we knew that the laws there weren't going to change. I also, at this point, really, it was hard for me to qualify with my income to do anything else investment wise, where you have to do the 15 or 20%, but I was able to come in at only 10%. You know, if I was far enough, 100 miles, I believe is the radius. And I could do that in Tennessee.
Yes, that's right.
And then I don't know where I think it had to be on the mastermind, where you had to buy property. The best way to buy property at that time was through the owner. And I found the owner on Facebook.
No way.
Yeah, on Facebook.
That's awesome. So you stalked the owner.
I did.
You saw the property. Was the property on the market or?
It wasn't on the market. So one of my friends who was already had a cabin in the Smokies, most of the HOAs over there have a Facebook group for like the HOA. And the owner had posted it on the HOA of where my friend has his cabin. And he sent me a screenshot of the neighbor and her Facebook profile.
Wow.
Oh, man.
So then I stalked her for like a month and a half. And she called me on 4th of July weekend. So she didn't even call me, like she called me on a holiday. Yeah. And I told her I love that property. And yeah, long story short, we bought the property through the owner.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a way to be resourceful. That's just, I mean, if you're feeling like you're at a dead end and can't find a deal, drive for dollars and check out Facebook.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Or just tell people, I think Diego said it a bunch of times, like tell people what you're doing, because you just never know. Right. Even now, how many people have cabins up there that we know, right? If you want to buy one, then let them tell you when somebody posts on their HOA group that they're selling their cabin. And it happens all the time.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And I love the strategy that you use, because this is something that not many people are aware, that you can qualify for a second home once a year and it's only 10% down. So if anybody has a goal to vacation in different places that they love, they can totally buy a property that they'll use as a second home. Of course, your DTI and stuff like that has to fit that criteria, but you do not need that 20% or 25% down. You can get a rental property that's short-term rental, just using 10%. So that's awesome.
Jacksonville was 10% also.
Oh man, so look at that. You got two properties for 10%. So you have two second homes technically.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man, okay. So then you got that property. What were some of the systems that you had to put in place to make sure that that cabin was performing and everything, being that you were in California?
A lot. There's a lot, actually. There's a lot. It's not as easy as people make it seem. But I think the most important is boots on the ground and your team, and to take care of them, to really just take care of them and let them know that it's a partnership, right? It's not just me hiring you guys. We're a partnership. And then you go into like, why is it important, right? You have to be up in the algorithm. You have to have a 5-star review, because all that helps both of us, right? It helps me get more bookings. And if I get more bookings, it means that my team is, having more jobs. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. And what does your boots on the ground look like right now?
It's 3 girls and they all do my cleaning, organizing, like small maintenance, like very small maintenance, and decorations. That's the big thing that we've implemented this year. So I make it a point to really ask why they're coming to the Great Smoky Mountains, and who's in their party. I really want to know, is it kids? Are you coming for a birthday? If we have a birthday kit that we reuse all the time until it gets ugly, but it's a small token that doesn't cost almost nothing for your cleaner, just to put it up and set it up, and people love it. They walk into the Airbnb and it's happy birthday. If it's kids, we always provide a coloring book and crayons. Again, it doesn't really cost much, and people love it. So just being very detailed is what they do. And then I have one handyman that I have on salary. And then I do have other resources that I can use if they're not available, but we just got that one handyman on salary.
That's awesome. That's awesome that it's really important for anybody that does have short-term rentals to make sure that they do have the right team members to help them out.
Yeah, and it wasn't always like that, to have a big team like that. I started just with my cleaner, right? And then in talking to her, there's so many cabins up there, not enough people to work them, that I really had to sit down with them and ask, well, what do you need? You know, what are your goals? What are you doing in your family? Where do you need to be income wise to just be moonlight getaways, right? And that's how we talked into, if salary needs to be talked about, then let's do that. But we had to grow and see what works for them so that we can decide how to move forward.
And Diana, how did you, right, when you got your first property there, how did you actually build your team initially?
It's actually a funny story how I met my cleaner, because my cleaner, I think I was just blessed when I met her, because she just knows so many people, and she helped me build my team that's there. And they're a great team. I flew out to Tennessee. I hadn't seen the property either. I saw it when I got the keys. And I was walking around the neighborhood, and I can see a cleaner just she was cleaning a mop. Like, she was just like going at it. And I'm like, I need her to be my cleaner. She was just like, she looked like she was just cleaning the heck out of that cabin. I'm like, she's going to be my cleaner. So I go up to her and I told her, hey, I just bought the cabin next door. Can you clean it? And that's kind of how I met her.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because you actually had the guts to like go out to her randomly and be like, hey, I need you on the team.
Yeah, mind you, my realtor had given me a bunch of resources. We already had friends that had cabins there, so they had their cleaners. Like, building a team wouldn't have been hard if I wouldn't have met her, right? But she is the reason why I have the team now. That's so great. They've been really great to me, and I think that we've been able to just work together to both be happy with what we're doing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Another thing I want to say too, when we're in Fi Rookie and we talk about short-term rentals, one of people's number one concerns is, I don't know who my boots on the ground is going to be. I don't know anyone there. And I love the approach that you took. It was, hey, I'm going to close on this property. I'm going to go through my realtor and find, referrals from my team members. And then if I can find something else, I will. So, you went there and you didn't have everything figured out, but you went for it and you made it work. And that's an awesome story. I love it.
Yeah, it was. We always talk about that. Like, remember when I met you? That was
so random. That's
so
awesome.
random. So random.
So then at what point, right, did you decide to say, all right, I am managing these properties. Now I'm gonna create a property management company based on the systems that you've created?
One, I really, really enjoyed doing it. And then I started helping other people. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed teaching them, and I enjoyed seeing the transformation that what I can bring them was making their Airbnb so much better. And it was the slightest thing that was making them more money. So somebody just told me, why don't you just start co-hosting?
Mm-hmm.
If you're so good at it, if you like doing it, then you should do it. And I actually started doing it here locally first, where I live, for a friend who had a house here, like 10 minutes from my house. That was my first property ever that I took on as property manager. So I'm no longer helping them. I'm fully on taking over. And then slowly we started with the cabins in Tennessee.
Okay. And how many did you say you're managing right now in Tennessee?
8. Well, 9, because one of them's mine. Yeah.
Okay. You're managing 9 total over there. And when did Arizona come into play?
Arizona came into play because as much as I love Tennessee, I love that cabin. It's so pretty there. It's also really far away. It's like 2,000 miles, a 7-hour trip. Like we can't enjoy it as a vacation home, right? So Roger and I had decided our next one has to be where we like going, which is Arizona. Spring training is always around my birthday in March. We go there every year. So why not buy a house there and do a short-term rental? And so that's what we did. But that one we did a non-QM loan. There's different words for that loan. DSCR, I think, is the other.
DSCR, yeah.
So we got that one, and this was another misconception. Roger and I always thought it was 20%, but in Arizona, the rents are so high, we were able to get it at 15%.
Awesome. A DSCR loan at 15%.
Yeah, because it depends on the rents of the market, whether it can be self-sustained with the markets that are around there.
Yeah, with a DSCR loan, there's a ratio that you have to do. It depends per state too, but that's great that you were able to do that. And the DSCR, did they underwrite that property with the rents of Airbnb or as a long-term?
So there is loans out there that can do Airbnb, but at a much, much higher interest rate. So we use just long-term rent at 15.
Gotcha. And one thing I'll just jump in here for any of our listeners that don't know what DSCR loan is or what it stands for. It stands for a debt service coverage ratio loan. And it's kind of like a residential version of a commercial mortgage product, lending product. Basically what it does is it looks at the income versus the actual principal, interest, taxes, and insurance and the payment you'd make on the property, right? So if you have Airbnb, you'll make a lot more so they can lend. The lender can take on more risk at the higher interest rate. So you'll be approved for a lot more. So that's why it's always, always super important to try to get your Airbnbs or whatever you have underwritten with an MTR or STR as your tenant, so it can make more money, so you can be approved for more.
Yes, and it also, I believe, it doesn't show up in your credit
right
credit report. You do have to show when you're applying to other loans, but it doesn't show up in your credit report. And you can also close on it in your name or in an LLC. So that's good.
It was also less paperwork, and that was just beautiful. Like, wait, no income? You don't have to do income employment verification. I think the only thing that I had to do was, because the reserves have to be a little higher, is that I had to submit my retirement account or some account. I can't remember, but it was just for reserves. It wasn't to qualify or anything like that.
Yes, and that's another hack too that people should know, is that the cash that the bank requires for you for reserves, it can be a 401k, a Roth IRA, any type of retirement account. They just need to see that you have some cash there. So you're good.
Yeah, so I like that. It was just easy.
Yes. Now I know you. I know the first. I don't know how many properties do you have now in Arizona?
One of them is mine and Roger's. The other one I bought with my family, with my parents, and then we manage one for my godmother.
Okay. Nice. Which one was the one that you bought that had like all the grass and everything? Because I would love to hear that story. It was that house.
Yes. The one that we rehabbed, the backyard, that one?
Yes. Can you share that story of how you found it and how you made that offer too?
So how did we end up in Glendale, Arizona? Well, the Dodgers play there for spring training. I went on the MLS and I was just looking around. And our price point was $360 with a pool. You have to have a pool in Arizona, and a big backyard. And we found it through, again, I found a realtor through our network. Through our mentorship, somebody gave me the realtor, and I called her and I said, I'm looking for a house in Glendale. I told her kind of what I was looking for. I wanted a corner lot. I was so picky too. I was picky. Like, I wanted to make sure that I picked a good deal, because the market was already changing at that time. So I was looking for a corner lot to make sure that I can build equity, like extend the house a little bit somehow where I can increase equity on it. And we found it within a week of looking. Yeah. The interesting part was that the owner of that house was somebody I knew from high school.
Look at that. Wow.
She was the owner of that house. It was like, yeah, it was a crazy coincidence that we knew who the owner was.
And there was one thing that you had shared with me was that property, when you submitted the offer, or when they did the appraisal or something, the backyard just looked horrible, but you were able to get it at a better price for that or something.
Yeah, we did, because there was something wrong with the pool. The backyard was just bad. And so my realtor negotiated to lower the price. And I think she went down, I can't remember how much, I think like $7,000 from the original purchase price. And it did appraise higher. So that was kind of cool that we did that. Yeah, it was a crazy deal.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
To find that, because you never think like, oh, you're going to start a market. It's very rare that you find someone that's looking into a new market and buy something that fast.
Exactly.
We were expecting to find something that fast.
And so then now, fast forward, you have your properties. What does, like, you started managing for others, right? And in between that time, as you started that business, I know that through the income, though, that you were making from your rentals, at a certain time, you also helped Roger basically change careers, going from working at the bank to him now being a realtor.
We always talked about wanting to quit our jobs and spend more time with our family and stuff like that, retire our parents. We always talked about that. But one thing he always talked about, a common theme, was how much he hated his job. And he was there for 17 years, same company. And he was there for 17 years, and his passion was always real estate. Like, he loves serving others, and him and I have always helped people buy a house, and we weren't realtors. We would just kind of guide them. We would refer them, didn't even know about the referral fee back then. We used to get Starbucks gift cards. Like, we had no idea what that world was. And we made a decision that he would be the one retiring first, because I love my job. We have great benefits. I keep saying I'm going to quit, and I don't, because I just love what I do. And it doesn't really interfere in what I'm doing. I think until I get to that point, then we'll talk, right? But yeah, he was able to retire from his 17-year corporate job. Wow.
That's awesome. And then now he's a realtor in LA area, right?
Yes, he's a realtor in the LA area.
Okay. That's awesome. And so for you, for everybody here too, what do you do for work? Because a lot of people will hear this now and be like, oh my gosh, she's managing 15 rentals and still being able to have a full-time job and everything. That's amazing. And you have 2 kids.
Yes. I do have a lot of support. My parents, my sister, my brother-in-law, they do help me a lot. So I'm not like a superhero. I do have a lot of support. But I'm a mental health therapist here in LA County. I work with adults suffering from severe mental illness. and I see them at their home. Yeah. Typically the clients that I serve are court ordered into mental health treatment. So they were maybe in jail for several years, and the court deemed them necessary to need assistance with mental health treatment.
Okay. Okay.
So very cool.
No, but it's awesome that you enjoy that you enjoy what you do. And a lot of people, especially even though you do have the cash flow and have your business and everything, you have the choice of working because you love what to do.
Yeah. And then nobody knows this, but I'll share it here now. I'm currently I just enrolled 2 days ago into a program where I'm going to learn a little bit more on doing what I do now, but on the entrepreneur side, when people have a big loss of money or financial problems, or you have a couple who's having like financial problems. So doing therapy around finances is kind of what I want to see if that's something that I can do. So it's kind of tying
cool.
both like real estate and finance and entrepreneurship with what I do now.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really interesting way to help people too, especially if you like numbers and everything. You're like, all right, let me do this, let me do that. So
yeah. No, and
cool.
I can't remember what article I wrote, but about all the mental health issues that came around the stock market when the big crash came in 2008. There wasn't that many people certified or, had the knowledge to be able to help someone with that. That's a big mental stress, with yourself, with your family. You've lost so much money. Who do you talk to? There's a lot of therapists who aren't educated to do that.
No, I can imagine, especially because money is one of those things that a lot of people like in a family can cause a lot of struggle and communication of like, hey, you lost it all, you put all of the investments there and now we don't have anything, and you begin to blame others too. Yeah. Like you can blame your spouse for, even though at that time was an okay decision or an informed decision, right? You hit up just bad financial, like the market just changes and now you guys are in a distress situation.
Still is the number one cause of divorce. I think I haven't looked it up, but it's up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Diana, one of the things too, you are Latina, Hispanic, grew up in a Latin culture, right? Everything. And with that, of course, as you mentioned, you still have your full-time job as a therapist. How has been that transition too of being able to like work in that part of America, right, with your job and everything, but also being a real estate investor? And what does your family say about that?
It took them a hard time to understand what Roger and I were trying to do. Mm-hmm. One, we were raised here in LA, groomed that the only way we'd be successful would to have a degree, right? And not just a bachelor's. You needed to go master's degree if you wanted to have a good life here in the US. And so that's what we did, right? We got into the student debt that I'm still paying. I still owe $65,000 on it. And when we started our real estate journey, it was really just because Roger and I saw that a lot of our income was going to pay our house. Even with a degree, we were still like, dang, it's tough. Like, we don't want our kids to do this. We really want them to be able to have a house and follow their passion. Because Roger and I had looked into real estate before. We even, I think when the market was good, here in LA, we had gone to a real estate agency and they were going to pay our school. They were going to like everything. And when we went to our parents, they were like, no, it sounds too good to be true. Just go back to school. And so we did that. We went back to school.
Wow.
And then even when we got our second, when we told them that Roger was quitting, that was still very hard for them. to accept. The market was changing. So they were saying, Roger, what do you mean? The interest rates are higher. Nobody's going to be buying houses anymore. How are you going to quit your job? But we always talked about, you're talking about all the ifs negatively, but let's talk about, he's going to be happy now. He's going to get home sooner. He's going to be able to pick up Jazzy from school. He's going to be able to take her to extracurricular activities, which he wasn't able to do that before. And so now, finally, they're starting to kind of understand a little bit as to why we did that. But it was hard.
Yeah, no, and I can imagine, and this is something that I'm going to say two things, but there's a lot of people that say, what if it goes bad, right? What if nobody's buying? But what if things go well? What if you're able to find those clients and find those families that you can help? What if you actually get to enjoy what you're doing that maybe you haven't enjoyed for 17 years in your other career, right? There's a lot of ifs in the negative, but people forget about the ifs and on the other side. So, and then with your family, that's something too that sometimes our tias, parents, uncles, that sometimes they are telling us this because of the fear that they have, the fear or how they grew up themselves, right? It's that blueprint. Can you share a little bit on that?
I mean, it's a common theme around the Latino community, right? And I think it's our responsibility to kind of change those conversations, right? So I'll give you an example, and I'm sure you tell me if your family does this, but if I go to a family party and they know I'm in real estate, they know we have a property management company, or when I was doing my master's degree, the first thing that one of your family members will say is, when are you going to have another kid? They don't ask, how's business? How's school? They don't talk about any of that, knowing that that's what you're doing. But it's the common theme. It's the common theme. When are you going to have another one? If you have one baby, they already want you to have another one. It's never about your business. It's never about finance. It's never about that. So Roger and I have made it a responsibility to if someone is working on something that's business or school, that's what we change the conversation to. Yeah,
exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's the expectations that sometimes our family sets for us, and not actually bringing in the things that are making us happy.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah. No, that's good. And thank you very much for sharing on that too. So now, Ward, take us to the lightning round.
Yes, sir. Diana, are you ready? It is 5 questions, rapid fire.
I will try. Go.
Perfect. I promise they're all lobs. What was your biggest hurdle with getting started in real estate investing, and how did you overcome it?
I think getting my partner to agree to do it.
Do you
have that difficult conversation?
What made it a difficult conversation?
That we had money saved up, and what would we do with it? Because again, I grew up with just saving all your money. For what? I don't know, but there was no purpose on why we were saving money. It was just kind of like for a rainy day. But even when you had your emergency fund, like it was still always save.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a personal habit that's attributed to your success?
I'm a great planner, organizer.
Love it.
Which makes sense why you have the property management company, because you can plan and manage, and yes, the SOPs.
And it's like with everything. If somebody says, oh, you want to throw a party? Tell Diana. You want to have a family vacation? Tell Diana.
That's awesome. That's so fun. What is one book that you read recently that has had an impact on your life?
One book? What is Never Split the Difference?
That's a good one by book. Chris Voss. That's a really good one. If you could go back, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
My 20-year-old self? To kind of just follow your dream, to like, and when I talk about it, it's like when we went to that real estate agency, like I should have just done it. My parents would have still loved me. They would have still supported me. They would have still they would have still been there for me, right?
Mhm.
But when you come from an immigrant family, you feel like you have this responsibility to do what the American dream should be, right? And so I feel like it does deteriorate you, some people, with what they really want to do. Like my passion was real estate from the very beginning at 20 years old, right? But because it wasn't something that my family ever talked about being like the way to go, right? Like the proper way to go. I didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of people think that at the end of the day, with the American dream is you're here, you're going to work for a big corporation, climb the corporate ladder, just get, go from, I guess on my end was being like a software developer to then being a manager to then being some kind of like CTO in the future and everything, right? And having those discussions of, because I had to go through that too, of the, hey, mom and dad, I'm going to quit my job that I got 2 degrees for, and I'm going to go and sell real estate. And they're like, are you sure you want to do that? And so it's a complete different thing.
Yeah, I'm also the oldest, right? So I always felt like I had this responsibility. I also didn't leave out of state for college because of the same reason. I felt like I had this responsibility where I couldn't leave my parents alone, that I had to stay, very close with them. And the reason also why, one of the big reasons why I haven't quit my job, right? Like, I feel like, how do I quit my job if I went to school, I worked so hard to get this degree and I owe money on it? So how am I going to do it, right? Yeah. It's hard. The only thing that really keeps me working is because I really, really enjoy what I do.
Yeah. And then last, final question, Diana, what does financial independence mean to you?
To be able to do what brings you joy without having to worry about time, and to serving your community at a deeper level. If I can do that, I will be super happy.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, I love the definition.
Cool.
Diana, where can people reach out? Because I know people are going to be reaching out to you, asking questions, maybe about property management, your short-term rentals, just learn more about you. Where can they go and reach out?
Yeah, I'd be happy for anybody to reach out. I used to teach Airbnb also, like how to, run your business and stuff like that. So I miss it. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out. Instagram is STR for the win. STR for the win.
STR for the win on Instagram. Yeah. Awesome. Diana, thank you so much for your time. Your story, as always, super inspirational. And I love the way that you took action from that of like, I don't know where I'm going to buy, how I'm going to take action. And then boom, you're buying one in Jacksonville. Yeah. And how you've been able to scale. It's been awesome to see your journey.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Diana, for coming on.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the FI Investors Podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And share this with a fellow real estate investor who you think would find value in what we do. Until next time.